what's up? It's Olivia. So today I'm going to be telling you another story time, but this one is not when I was working. It's not a guest situation. This was actually an Uber ride I took from Vista Way Apartments to Walmart. A 10-minute drive that took me on a roller coaster. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel so you can follow along all of my adventures that I'll be having in Orlando this summer on my second college program. So I took Ubers maybe about once a week on my college program. I mainly just took them to Publix, which was like a 3-minute drive away, and then would take the bus back. But towards the end of my program, sometimes I would take an Uber on my way home from the parks because I just didn't want to wait an hour and a half to get home when it was like a 15-minute drive. So on this particular day, I took the bus from the park to Vista Way Apartments and then took an Uber from Vista Way to Walmart. Now this is usually like a 3-minute drive, but because it was 5:30, had a bunch of traffic, it took maybe 10 to 15 minutes long. So my Uber driver pulls up and he looks like a decent guy. Like, he has on long button sleeve outfit, a nice wash, slicked back hair, literally looks like he just got off of his 8 to 5 job and was now doing his evening Uber ride. So we're doing like the whole Uber driver small talk. So he's like, oh, where are you from? And I'm like, oh, I'm from California. He's like, oh, so you're used to this traffic. Man, this traffic is so bad here. And I was like, oh, well, you know, where I'm from, we don't really have that much traffic, but once you get into the Bay Area or Los Angeles, like, it's definitely bad, you know, this is nothing. He's like, oh yeah, I know, man, but man, Malibu, Los Angeles, Hollywood, the palm trees, it's gorgeous. And I was like, oh, have you been? And he's like, well, no, but I've heard it's great. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm like, oh, where are you from? And he's like, man, I'm from New York. And like, it's the first time that his like New York accent came out, and I butcher it, so don't pay attention to me. But he tells me the story about how he did not want to leave New York and how he went kicking and screaming. He did not want to move, but his family forced him to move to Orlando. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this poor kid, like, he was probably a high school student from the way he's talking about this, got moved his senior year to Orlando and then I guess stayed. And he's also telling me about how much he misses his family, and I'm like, oh my god, like, he probably has like grandparents and people back in New York, and like from the way he was talking, it sounded like his parents were no longer in Orlando, so I don't know if they moved somewhere else in Florida or back in New York. But this guy was just like devastated that he had to leave New York. So I was like, oh my gosh, how old were you when you moved? He goes, man, I was 1 year old. I was just before 1 year old actually, and man, I went kicking and screaming. I did not want to leave New York. Wait a second. You were kicking and yes, you were 1 year old, so of course you were kicking and screaming. I tried to like kind of test the water a little bit to see if he was messing with me, because I was like, there is no way. He spent 11 months of his entire life, child life, where he has no memory in New York, lived here the rest of his life, and has this accent, missed it so much. Nope. That's literally the only times he's been to New York. I'm just like, wow, okay. So we continue on to the next subject. So we're talking about work, and told him I worked for Disney, and so he was telling me about how his friend tried to apply there and there was this whole big application process. And I was like, yeah, you know, I was telling him about it. He's like, yeah, man, my job, it's so rough, it's the hours are so long, it's my boss is insane and has these crazy high standards. And so again, he looked like he was a businessman, so I was like, oh my gosh, maybe he's like a paralegal or works at an accounting firm or something that's like very intense, something corporate, something with long hours. And then he goes, yeah, man, I work on the Verizon store on Vineland. And it wasn't actually on Vineland, it was whatever street he said. But I was like, wait, what? Because again, he was building it up like there was this crazy intense, and I'm sure the Verizon store is intense in its own way, but again, the way that he was building it up, like, come on, dude. So then this guy started telling me again about how much he misses his mom, how much he misses his family, how they used to be so close and how they are so close, but he hasn't seen them in forever and he misses them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, again, thinking maybe they live in Tampa, maybe they live back up in New York. Like, man, this poor guy, like, he's here, he didn't want to move here. Well, now I know he moved here when he was 1, so he's lived here his entire life. So we're almost to Walmart, and he goes, yeah, she lives in those houses over there. I'm actually gonna go see her after I drop you off. And again, I'm like, wait, what? Literally, the way he was talking, I thought she lived across the country, and no, he hadn't seen her in 2 days. That's forever to him, and enough to tell a complete stranger about how much he misses his mom and how he hasn't seen her in forever and how they used to be so close, but he feels like they're drifting. 2 days. So now I'm on guard and I'm like, okay, don't really fall for anything this guy continues to say, because whatever it is, it's not. So we're finally like pulling into the Walmart parking lot. There was a lot of traffic. Again, this drive took way longer than it should have. And he goes, you know what? This is a long drive, so I'm not gonna charge you for it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you don't have to do that. Thank you, like that's so kind of you. And he goes, yeah, you know some drivers, they charge and end their ride as soon as the pin hits the location, but I don't like doing that to my riders, so I'm gonna drive you all the way up to the front door free of charge. Wait, what? Yeah, man, I'm not gonna leave you all the way back there. I'm gonna drive you up to the front, and look, I'm hitting stop. I'm not charging you for these last 100 yards. Well, thank you. I really needed to save that penny, so I'm glad you're not charging me these last... Was he seriously going to drop me off in the back edge of the Walmart parking lot instead of actually taking me to Walmart? What the heck? So anyway, I was just thrown for a loop, and I was like, okay, like I didn't care paying for it. I should be paying for it. He provided me a service. But the fact that he said, oh, I'm not gonna charge you, and then he was... So he drops me off and I say bye, and he doesn't pull away, and he goes, sorry, I'm just texting my mom real quick to see if she wants me to grab anything from Walmart before I head over. And I'm just like, great, you do that. See ya. And that's the end of the story. Nothing too exciting, but like, dang. If you would have been there, it would have been a lot funnier. I hope you found the story at least somewhat entertaining, a little bit funny. If you did, you know what to do. Give it a thumbs up and leave your funny Uber driver stories down in the comments below, because those are seriously my favorite things to watch on YouTube. Alright, next week I'm going to be doing what to pack for your DCP, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Remember to keep dreaming out loud, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!